Mohawk Jewelers, timeless jewelry for generations.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of From a Mother to Another. And I am Sandy Banerjee, and this is where you get to hear from moms around the world. So, our guest today is here to share her challenges as a new mom and her experiences of settling back home with her family. So, please join me in welcoming Momita to the show. Hi, Momita.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's really a pleasure to be here on your show. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So, before we dive into the set of questions, let's start with the introduction of yours.
Yeah. So basically, my name is Momita. I'm from the eastern part of India. That's my hometown. It's called Kolkata. So right now, I have a 2.7 years of daughter, single one, and I'm myself is a single daughter of my parents. And currently, I'm working in a multinational company as an accountant, managing a team over there. So I have to manage a lot back at home and at work. And so basically, that's all about me. Uh, so yeah,
Sure.
happy to join.
Absolutely. So let's start about your experience of having the baby. So you had the baby in US, right? How was the experience with the overall process?
Yeah, actually, it was really good because the doctors and the nurses were so good over there. You know, I mean, it was really amazing to have the baby over there because I had the normal delivery, which I actually wanted to. But back in my hometown, it's really hard to have a normal delivery over here because doctors mainly push us for the, uh, cesarean actually, and which I didn't want it. I'm kind of like yoga person which who likes to do yoga instead of going to the gym. So whatever comes naturally is best for me.
Sure.
So I had a baby over there which was fine enough, and the stuffs were really good enough. But yeah, had some challenges also, but it was good overall.
Okay. So let's talk about the challenges, right? As a new mom,
Yeah.
new country, new experience. I mean, it's life changing, obviously, having a baby, right? So, what were the challenges of a new mom?
My challenges was since that I mean I had the first one. I didn't have any experience of a baby. I
Sure.
have listened from many of my friends, from you also, but every pregnancy is different,
Ah,
and every child is different.
mhm.
So my child actually didn't wanted to sleep in a separate than myself. I mean, she were not taking the uh, any of them, so I had to keep her with me. And first thing I used to think like, can she be okay? Because if I'm sleeping beside her, I might hurt her. I don't know, because you're very tired, you are very fatigued at the end of the day. And when they get up, actually, it's kind of their morning. When from 1 o'clock in the night till 4 o'clock in the morning, they'll be like playing and talking to you, kind of like that. So that were some of the challenges, but that's I guess with every parents. But my biggest challenge was when I had some infection actually. So that's called actually mastitis, which I was not aware of the fact. Since we have heard our parents saying that you should drink this and that, you should have this and that to have good
Right.
milk for your child, but I
Right.
have never listened that you might have excess milk. Uh,
Right.
Unless, I mean, I didn't have any of those foods also. I mean, I didn't took any of certain things which parents say actually. But however, I had some excess milk, and for the reason of which I had infection because my baby was not taking up that much that she needed. And in the newborn stages, they don't need so much of the food,
Right.
but I had some excess one, and I was not aware of the fact. And suddenly one day morning, I started getting shivering. I started having fever. So I was like, am I dying? What happened to me? Because I had some malaria before. So it's kind of like malaria. I was just shivering. So I
My God.
thought, is it back? It cannot be in US because you don't have mosquitoes over there. Uh, but then I called my doctor and I came to know that's a mastitis because I had infection. It's nothing but the milk is it's hard over there in your breast
Right.
and you need to pump out. Actually, I was not
Mm.
using the pump at that point of time, but after I went to the emergency, I had some medications for a few days and I started doing the pumping, and that really helped. So
Mm.
I would say back in India when I came back, I heard a lot from my friends that you should not be using the pump, this and that, it might hurt you, it might affect you. But I would say no, I mean, I'm fine. I know you have also done it, so you are also fine. So I would say take a good pump and it will really help you
Right.
at least to and if somebody is having this kind of issues, it really works because the main thing, instead of having the medicine, you should have pumping so that it smoothens your flow and everything.
Right.
Baby can also suck the milk very well. That's the whole point actually. And
Right.
one more challenges that I had was my baby had eczema in her face and her ears also,
Wow.
but I was not aware of the fact because in usually nowadays doctors say like they are newborn and you don't have to moisturize them a lot. So I didn't moisturize them because it says like they have natural moisturizers, so you
Sure.
don't have to do that. Yeah. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything, but suddenly I feel like she was, having some irritation on her skin and she was trying to itch. It was itchy kind of thing. And I was like, she was not even a month old when I had to take her to the doctor, and she prescribed that she might have ear infection because it was looking very worse. And in
Wow.
Arizona, where I was, actually, it's very prone to ear infection. It's very common over there. So doctor told that it might be ear infection and it's really very worse. So take her to the emergency. So
Mm.
taking her to the emergency and then waiting over there for a long time. She was not even a month old at that point
Wow.
of time.
Scary, huh?
Yeah, then what I had was the doctor came up and he mentioned that it might affect her brain, it might affect this and that, and we were like
Wow.
really, I'm scared because when you hear all those things, it's really very scary when
Right.
with a 1 month old. And then I had to sit there for a long time. They did a spine tab and everything. And then I couldn't be the part of the spine tab because you cannot be there on the room. So that was the hardest challenge I faced when I was a mother. And then when we went to the actual hospital from the emergency, the doctor came and first thing what she told was, so it happened in the morning and the actual doctor came in the evening, so that a lot of hours passed by. And then she mentioned that she does not have an infection. The basic reason with infection would be a fever, which she doesn't have. So she didn't have any fever or anything. She just mentioned it's a problem, and that's actually an eczema. So you have to just moisture her.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really hard challenge. I mean, putting only moisture would have been help. However, I had to take her to the emergency, do the spine tab, and do some blood
Right.
tests when their hand is like little tiny a bit, and you have to put like torch under her arm, I mean palm, and then they have to see the vein and everything, and then they have to take the blood from there. It was really hard to see her like that because see, she was screaming. The eczema was becoming more worse actually.
Oh, wow.
So her whole face was like blown up like this in a red. So it was really scary, but yeah, eventually she's fine. And the doctor told me that you need to use the coconut oil because
Yes.
that's the best for your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I came to know that Indians, actually, doctor only told me that I don't know why Indians like to use the mustard oil, but coconut oil is the best for your skin. So still, till now, she's 2.7. I'm using her coconut oil every day and then moisturizing her. So that was challenge, which I was not aware. If I would aware, then it would have been so worse, I would say.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely. My God, I cannot imagine. That's especially with such a little baby, right? Newborn, and you are taking her to the ER and everything. Wow. Yeah, those are challenges for sure. So what is one thing you wished you knew as a parent? Obviously, the mastitis part and probably the eczema part too, right? What else?
Um, I wish I knew. I knew that I shouldn't have left her not to use bottles because when I was moving back, what happened actually, I was using, yeah, I was using bottles and I was giving her direct feeding. But what happened when I was busy with packing things up, coming back to India, and so I didn't had the time to give her in a bottle. So at that point of time, I was using directly, and that's how she changed her. What I would say is she changed her little things, and she stopped taking bottles actually. So that was really challenging. So I wish I didn't do that. I did that to myself only. And after that, she stopped
No.
taking the bottles.
Oh my God, I can imagine. Oh, wow. So moving back to India with such a little baby, how was the transition? Especially with a little baby, and then you came back. You were working there in the U.S., right? So you came back again, maybe took a break, but then came back to the workforce, right? So how was the overall transition?
Yeah, actually, I joined back to the work after 12th week, actually. And my husband was taking care of her because I didn't have any of my parents over there. My in-laws were there only for 20 or 30 days. I don't remember exactly. But it was really early when they left. And I had to join back to work. My husband was taking care of her because he was doing quite a lot work from home. That's the reason he could take care. But as you know, it takes more a lot. Then I thought I should give up my job right now. Maybe I'll join back because I was not ready to give her in the daycare or so. So that's the reason I resigned from there. But within few weeks, we came to know that our project is almost done and we have to move back to India. So all came all together. It was overwhelming. So we started planning like how we need to sell. My colleagues helped me a lot, like what are the apps through which you can sell off your things and this and that. They also came to my house, they purchased things, and so it's like back and forth. I have to be a seller and a mother and taking care of
Right.
the whole balancing out everything. So yeah, it was challenging because over there in the early morning, people goes to office. Right in India, we don't see much often that people going to office at 6 o'clock in the morning. Usually, people go at 9 or 10 o'clock. So it's an early morning over there. And while going to their work, they might come to my place to purchase something or the other. Maybe I have gone to sleep maybe at 4 o'clock because my newborn won't allow me to sleep until that. So it was kind of like having 2 hours sleep sometimes, sometimes 3 hours sleep. So I had to struggle with it. It was for a week or 2 weeks, I would say. I had those issues because it was really hard because I was trying to sell off as many things as I can, and then again I have to handle my newborn. But one more benefit I would say is, since I had a newborn at that point of time, at least she couldn't move around. She would cry in the bed but she cannot move anywhere. So I was like, okay, fine, I had the monitor to hear her, but
Right.
I know that she cannot go anywhere. But right now I don't know where she is going here and there. So that's the best part, that she was newborn at that point of time. So that was challenge a little bit, but I would suggest, like, if somebody is moving back for such a long journey, or they're going out for somewhere for a long journey, they should actually take a separate seat for their children.
Okay.
That's really helpful because you cannot take the baby in your lap for such a long hours because it's a huge long journey,
Right.
almost 1.5 day, I would say.
Right.
So yeah, so and then the seats are also not very comfortable all the time. It might be, the space, and so it's better to have a separate seat. Use the
Right.
car seat. They allow the car seat in your flight. So use the car seat, take your baby, let her sleep on the car seat, and you should take some rest because you need that. You need that. You need
Right.
that. So that's the thing. And sometimes they will take away. Actually, in New York, they took my perambulator, so I was not able to put the car seat to somewhere. So I had to carry the car seat all through my hand, and baby won't sit on the car seat all the time. So I have to carry her
So you
like
can.
so it's like this, that. So my both the hands were like stuck, but still I
Oh,
had luggages, so many. So I had to. Yeah, it was really hard when we were coming back in the airport, but they were really helpful. They took our extra luggages also. They said you are like carrying so many things, so let us take some away from you. So it's
okay.
really helpful when people help you out.
Right.
But yeah, I would suggest like people to have an extra seat for their children.
Sure. Sure. Great. So going back to India and settling down, and you took a new job, right? So how easy or hard was that, like whole transition and everything? Because I don't. Sometimes people are interested to know how are jobs to returning moms, right? New moms going back to work. How flexible are the jobs and everything? So tell us a little about that.
Yeah, so actually, when I came back to India, I thought since I've taken already a break, moving back from there, resigning from US and coming back over here, so I thought if I have taken that break, why not to, uh, stay with my daughter for a little more longer
Sure.
time since I
Yeah.
was breastfeeding all the time and she was not taking any formula or anything. And since I had enough milk, the doctor also suggested like if you have enough, why not to give it and why
Right.
not to avoid formula. So I thought, okay, let me then, concentrate more on daughter right now. But when she was almost a year, I would say like she was almost 8 months or 9 months when my husband actually pushed me like, why don't you go back to the job? I mean, it will help actually. Uh, so then I started looking actually, and one of my best friend actually helped me to search for the job, and I really got it. It was not too hard for me to get a job, but yeah, they would ask always the question like, how would you balance your life since you are a mother? So I said I have my parents also. When I'm not there, they might be looking after the child, and I have I might keep a someone to take care of my child. So that's not a worry. I'll handle if I'm taking that challenge. I'll manage that challenge. But yeah, going back to this work, this was something new for me because I joined in the IT sector, which I've never been. I have been a different sector, but not in the IT sector. So I got a team to manage of 30 people, and then to manage so many people all together, and then back at home you have to manage a child, whole everything.
Right.
It was really hard. And being a new sector, it was really different because we have to work according to our clients requirement. So my client is based on UK, so the timing was kind of like from 12 noon to 9 o'clock in the night. I have to
Oh.
work, and
Mhm.
since I work in the accounts, I did not have any opportunity to work back from home actually. So
Right.
I have my laptops, but I cannot use it from home because you don't have access of accessing your client's environment back at home. So I had to manage everything over there at office, but I made sure that if it's 9 o'clock, I'll leave at 9 o'clock. That's how it is. Because in India, you have certain times, but people cannot follow because you have so much of workload that it's
Right.
always you are doing some overtime, but you don't get paid for that. But that's not the point. I just wanted to make sure that I balance well. I have to come back to my daughter because my workplace was a little far away than my home, so it takes almost an hour to by car. So at 9 o'clock, if I'm leaving, I'll reach my house maybe at 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30 sometimes. So if I have meetings, sometimes I'll reach home by 11 or by 12 also.
Wow.
That's really late. But the good thing was in the morning I was able to give her time. That's how I juggled up. You have to plan quite a bit, and you have to ask your organization, talk to them openly. Do not, talk to them like you can do everything what they're asking for at the beginning, and then can't do it. I don't feel that. I mean, keep yourself uh, open. I mean, I would say tell them the truth, and they would understand because you are a new mother. You have to handle a child also. That's the first responsibility. And then comes the next challenge that you have taken. That is your job also. So you have managed that responsibility as well. So they are human beings. They will understand. So keep them informed, and you can manage it. You have to plan
Yeah.
accordingly.
That's a very important topic or important point that you brought up, because that is important. You do not commit to everything that I can get you, the moon, and then you can do it, because
Yeah.
it's not realistic, really. And as you said, they will understand, right? So I'm glad that your organization is supportive of a new mom, and I'm hoping that there are many more organizations who will do that, because if you lay that out straight in front, that these are my expectations and this is what I can do. And I think a lot of us, especially women being in that nature, are afraid to put that out there, right? So, yeah, very important point, especially for a new mom. Especially when you are, like, as a new mom, you are already overwhelmed. The last thing you need is getting more overwhelmed. Okay. That's a very good, important topic, important point, Momita, and I'm glad you brought it up. So what things in India would you say that you miss from US? Is there anything that you miss right now?
Yeah, I miss some of the things, the basic some things like the blue sky, I would say. You don't get to see over here quite often with the stars, actually, because it's really polluted back in India. I used to love to see the blue sky from my window with the stars over there. And I really miss the central AC because you had the AC on your kitchen. In India, you
Right.
don't have it. You love to cook it, but you don't have the AC in your
Right.
kitchen. So I miss that part. And the most important part that I miss actually to travel by your car. In India, it's really hard to travel because you have roads. It's not that you don't have good roads, you have it. But the thing is that you don't have so much of washrooms, which is very challenging for a woman. Uh, since you don't have a clean one, sometimes you might not be able to go also. So that's really hard. But I love to travel. I love to visit different places. So yeah, in US you had those things because you had everything, necessity things you had in the gas stations. Over here you don't have that.
Sure. Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I miss those part actually.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, Momita, before I let you go, I have one more question for you. So, if there was one advice you could give to moms or parents who are moving back, because you have done it very successfully, what will that be? In terms of anything really, settling down with the baby, job, anything.
Yeah. First suggestion would be uh, don't give up on the bottles. That's really helpful because sometimes you need to feed them the bottles, which I made a mistake of not giving her for quite a long of time, and she was not used to it, and she gave up the bottles. So don't do that. And in the plane, as I mentioned, take a separate seat for your child for that long journey. Whenever you are going, it might not be settling down, but you might travel along somewhere. And then you should start actually, if you love to go back to your job, you should actually go back within an 1 year of your child, because after that they start communicating. They are more communicative, they understands more, and more they understands, it's hard for you to go back and join because you don't want to go back at that
Right.
point of time. And then at certain point it will come, you might think that let him or her be little more grown up, and then I would join back. But that's hard because they won't allow you actually. I know some of my friends who couldn't join back because their kids didn't allow them. They were like, "Mom, please do not go," and they will scream and shout and this and that. So they had to leave their job actually. So better, sooner you do, it's better for you, better for your child to adopt it. They get acquainted with it, so it's really easy for both of them. And then I would say take some jobs which is nearby to your home. Right now, actually, we have moved back nearby to our office. Both our offices is in the same campus. So we thought of moving back to nearby to office, which saves a lot of travel time, which you can, give it to your kid actually. So right now I'm saving almost an hour on every day. I would say on every journey. So it's kind of like 2 hours from daily. So
Yeah.
which I can save. So it's like 6 minutes drive from right now where we stay. So that's important. try to give more time to your child. Try to take a job which is kind of like weekend off. You do not go on Saturdays also. But I know if you're a doctor or something, if you are working in a hospital, you cannot do that. But other than that, if you can do it, weekends are really helpful because you get to know your child, you play with her.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if you have your parents, I mean, if they have their grandparents or nanny, but mom and dad are something different, and they really need that touch.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I would suggest that. And lastly, I would say, in India, what I have seen, like people do not want to give their child to the daycare unless they're like 2 years or 2.5 years or 3 years of old, or maybe they don't allow them to go to school also nowadays, because many of my friends have said, like, since they are not able to talk, I don't know what will happen over there, and if they cannot say anything to us, I would suggest that you can give them at 1.5-year-old. That's the preschool time when you can, give them. If you don't want to give them the daycare, that's fine enough. But go give them to the daycare. That's really helpful. They start communicating more faster. They start. They get acquainted with it, with the environment. They have more friends over there, so they will be more, they won't be like only mommy all the time. They will be like, friendly, more friendly in nature. And that's really helpful for the high school. I mean, for to go to the high school, it helps. It really helps because they get used to it. Other than the people they are acquainted with back at home, they also get to see some teachers, some friends. So really, it's helpful. So you can give them at 1.5 years old, because not to worry, because you have cameras everywhere right
Okay.
now. So you can manage the camera also. You can see live what they are doing. You have the mobile app right now with all the grade going school. You can select from there. So all of the school more or less they have cameras. So not to worry. Yeah. So you have to take that chance. Go for it. It's really helpful. The child does not get irritated back at home because they have some activities over there. So it's really helpful for them. So I would suggest go for it, parents. That's
Awesome. Great tips, Momita. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your journey, your story. I love listening to it. I'm sure our viewers will also appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Talk to you later. Bye bye. Bye.